Hi, welcome to the first ever episode of the Forced Adulthood podcast. We're a group of 4 college guys hoping to use our experiences and stories to be a beacon of support to our fellow young adults. We cover different topics like mental health, dating, making life decisions, and more. To start off our podcast, we wanted to introduce ourselves. My name is Alan from Allen, Texas, and I'm getting my undergrad in business management with end goals of becoming an orthodontist and owning my own practice. Next, we're going to hear from my friend Lavere.
Yeah, so I'm Lavere Whitney. I'm from Columbus, Ohio. Currently studying psychology. I want to go into counseling. I want to one day have my own clinical counseling practice and help people going through mental health issues or anything like that. So, yeah.
And I'm Mark. My name's Mark Thompson. I'm from Colorado, small town called Johnstown, Colorado, but I currently live in Idaho. And I'm a finance major, business finance major, with hopes to own several different businesses and get into kind of the passive income realm of life, and just kind of an aspiring entrepreneur trying to find and see where life takes me. I don't have anything specific set in stone right now, but just lots of good ideas that are coming around.
My name's Henry Whitney. I'm from Idaho, currently in Rexburg. I'm a small business student, as well as a recreation management student, hoping to go into outdoor education and teach at the college level, as well as own my own small businesses.
Yeah, and Henry and our cousins, not brothers, but pretty much brothers. We've all 4 of us have roomed together at BYU, Idaho, and Rexburg for the last couple of years, and just
we're all pretty much brothers.
Yeah, pretty much.
We love each other.
We love each other. I spent a good amount of time with Alan as well. Spent 2 years with each other, so it's good times.
Yep. All right. Well, now that y'all know a little bit about us, we want to bring up today's episode topic, which is how to remain positive during hard times that you're forced into. And to start off this topic, we wanted to hear from a story from Mark.
Yeah. So while we were kind of discussing these podcasts and trying to figure out like what we wanted to do, we kind of reminisced a little bit on a story, like an experience that I actually had a number of years ago where.
Yeah. Sorry, just real quick.
Go for it.
Like, we had a little cover art so when we were thinking podcast, we thought of the name Forced Adulthood. And so we put the cover art or like our little logo as just a guy sitting in a chair. So I don't know, maybe Mark, take it away from there. Sorry.
Yeah. So the cover art, right? We got a guy sitting in a chair. It's kind of a random cover art. But my experience was a number of years ago, I was out in Utah going on a little adventure with some friends and a couple of adults. And we went to a movie theater. And outside, we just got done having a super long walk and touring a campus and all that fun stuff. And we're kind of tired and saw some massage chairs sitting outside of this movie theater. So it was fun because we were thinking, all right, well, we can just go and kind of relax a little bit while we're waiting for a movie to start, because we just wanted to have a good vacation. And it was pretty cheap. It was like $5 for a couple of minutes. And so my buddy, he goes in and sits down in this chair and he starts having his massage. Like, all right, well, if he's doing it, I'm going to do it. So I was like 30 seconds behind him or so on this time. And then a couple of my other friends hop on the other chairs and we're sitting there. It's nice. We're just coasting. We're just enjoying our massage, just really having a good time, just kind of laughing with each other. When all of a sudden I hear my friend sitting behind me just kind of start screaming, and I have no idea what's going on. And I'm just like, whoa, what's going on, dude? He's like, well, the chair. And right as he says that, my other friend comes running around the corner with a cell phone, holding it up in my face. And right as he comes around, the chair is one of those chairs that has like the calf massagers, grips down on my calves, locks me in place. And I'm like, I'm like, what the heck's going on here? And the next thing I know, there's a rod from underneath the seat that just kind of starts going up and down. And it's pretty brutal because it's very unexpected. And it's kind of an interesting ride because no one's expecting some sort of rod just kind of coming out of nowhere. So it's all just it was a very weird experience. My friend got a video of it, and it was an experience that I was forced into. And we all laugh at it now because it's a funny thing that happened. But as we were talking about this podcast, Forced Adulthood in the Chair, that's kind of life in itself. We all come into the world, right? And we're going into teenage, and then next thing you know, we're in adulthood. And every now and then the roller coaster of life just kind of grips you. The massage chair of life just grips you by the calves and just takes you and throws you for a ride, so to speak. And it's not anything that you can necessarily escape. Like, this chair had me gripped down. I couldn't get my feet out, and it was holding me down good. But that's just life. You just have to kind of grip and bear it, and just kind of sit it out while you figure things out until that chair finally releases you and you know now what to expect. So yeah, but it was a good time.
I love that you're able to look back on it and laugh. I think that probably at the time you were like, yo, what the heck is going on?
It was, yes, exactly. All of my friends, one by one, we all kind of had that same experience. We're just kind of screaming. It was at different intervals, but it was fun. Yep.
So that was the story we wanted to start off with. And now we're just going to go around and just talk about some problems that we are all being forced to right now in our lives. So we'll start off with Henry.
Awesome. So a problem, or I guess a good challenge for me right now in my life, is figuring out what I want to do with my life. In regards specifically to my career, what I want to go into, how I want to make a difference in the world, and how I want to provide for myself and my future family. And that has been a struggle. It's been consuming a lot of my time and thoughts lately. And I know many college students can relate to this, of not being sure where they're at and where they want to go. And for me, I think some things that have helped me to kind of get a better picture of what I want to do is looking at what impact I want to make on the world around me, who I want to touch, and kind of how I want to live my lifestyle, what my lifestyle might look like, and how I can get there. So I just made the decision to switch to recreation management as my major here at college, and with a minor in small business. And that's been a big decision because of a lot of unknowns and my own like insecurities and kind of doubts. And so
Hannah, question for you, maybe.
Yeah.
So often we talk about like, all right, what's worked, and I think that's often a great question for each person, but like, what hasn't worked, and like trying to decide like what's been like, as you go through this, do you think like, like that really was a bad way to think about it, or that's, I wish I would have done this differently? Like, what has not worked that if I'm going through the same thing, which I have, like, what would you say? Don't do this.
Yeah, that's a great question, Lavere. I would say don't just try and please other people.
That is great advice. Absolutely.
So just do your thing, decide what you want to do, find your area, and find reasonable, realistic things that you can pursue, then make plans and goals to pursue that. So
I have a little to add to that as well. I know that, like, one thing that I love that Henry was saying was that was trying to find something like how he could impact the world a little bit. And I know, Lavere, you and I have had some big conversations on this as well. And one thing that I would say not to do is don't let your entire focus be on how much money you can make in a specific place, because that, I know for me, that has been something huge that I've been looking at in the very near future, or like recent times, because I've been just thinking, all right, well, I want to live this lifestyle, but so how can this career make this money for me to do that? And it's caused so much stress on my life. it's not been fun. And so I've kind of rewired it a little bit and just thought, okay, what's going to make me happy and feel satisfied in life in comparison to
Yeah.
like what other things do. And I know, Lavere, you and I have also had that similar conversation. Like you just recently changed. You were also a finance major like myself, but I don't know if you want to
Yeah.
share on that.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Like I kind of laugh because like I've gone through that same thing, right? So often there are like phases of like people think, okay, and like I think this too, like I want to go make as much money as I can, as fast as I can, put everything into my career. And then after I have all this money, that's when I'll give everything I can to my family. And so I was a finance major my first 2 years because I was like, like I want to go into counseling. I'd love to help people through like mental health issues and I would love to be a counseling, which is a great profession. But unfortunately, the lifestyle and amount of money I wanted to make did not match the average salary for a mental health counselor. And that's shallow. That's a whole bunch of things, right? But I was just like, all right, like I want to provide my family in the future. Like I want to be paying for my parents' retirement. I want to pay for anyone that I can, and I want to have that money. So like counseling is not going to cut it. But then I was talking with my dad and a bunch of different people, but he's like, look, like you're gonna look back if you go down this finance route and wish you're a counselor. Like if you want to go into counseling, if you're good at what you do, you can make money anywhere. And so just going with something that like you feel good with and that you can add value, the money will come with it as you think of, okay, what things do I care about?
Well, I think it's pretty interesting too, because like your family has a big history in that finance realm or the business market at least. And you have experience in places that you can kind of draw those experiences from on how to get to that lifestyle. And so I bet that was a pretty scary step,
Yeah, for
like
sure.
kind of taking that leap. And I know that was similar for myself too, I kind of went the opposite route. Like I had have a lot of family like in the engineering realm and that type of stuff, but I kind of took a different curve and went the finance realm for myself. But
yeah. So yeah, I mean, if there's anything else to add on that, like go for it. Otherwise, like Alan, if you have a question or anything to add on that, you've been
I can
benching for a
totally add
little
on to
bit.
something. So my dad works with Toyota, so I'm definitely not a car guy. My brother is. So I've loved that y'all have talked about focusing on what your internal goals are, not letting money or anybody else's opinion matter when you're deciding what you want to do with your life. And so personally, I want to be an orthodontist. Both of my parents have told me that's disgusting and that teeth are disgusting. Um, and they're like, that's so many years of school, but it's something that I'm passionate about. So I just love that. And there is definitely a plus side to the money aspect of being an orthodontist, but that's not why I'm doing it. It's because I really do love teeth. So I love it that when you focus,
you just gotta love those teeth, right?
I love teeth.
I love teeth.
I love teeth.
Everyone has their thing.
The more
Everyone has their
y'all are
thing.
listening to this
Okay.
podcast, the more you'll realize I just love teeth.
All right.
First thing that you notice in somebody, that's a nice smile.
It really is. It really is. But yeah, it's totally, when we're forced into something, the best way to move through it and stay positive is just really focus on yourself and make sure that you are trying to figure out who you want to be, and you're not listening to other people's opinions on what they think you should be or the status quo or whatnot. So I love that.
Yeah. And you were saying that the thing that really didn't work pretty quickly, you're like thinking about what other people think, right? So like that's pretty easy to say, like, oh yeah, just don't care. What tactics do you actually use or could you use, like what are your thoughts on how to actually implement that instead of just saying it,
Yeah, it's definitely very easy to say, but hard to do. I think, getting as much, I guess for me, with my specific experience of figuring out what I want to do, talking to people and getting, making a plan for myself, but not making that plan necessarily to please others, or like I guess in specifics. So I want to major in recreation management and go into teaching. It's not a very common thing, I guess, and it may not make as much money, especially up front. And so that's one thing that I've been like kind of scared to like bring up, or like scared to pursue, just because of that fact. I think I was kind of insecure about that. And so I think just facing that head on and not being ashamed of that is important, and just pursuing it, and just kind of committing to it, and not really worrying about what people say. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
I can add on to what he was saying. I think a big part of why we struggle so much with like making sure that we focus on our own goals is social media. I know that when we're looking at other people's feeds and we're seeing how great their lives look with their major, we tend to want it. Same thing with any type of like television. So I just think that as we, set those aside, if maybe we unplug from social media for a little bit, we'll be able to realize that what other people are doing is not affecting our lives as much as we think, and we should focus on our own. Lavere, were you going to add something to that?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I mean, kind of why I'm asking is like this has been a journey for me to kind of get to a spot that I feel like is great. So like for the church that we all attend, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter Saints, Mormon Church, we serve 2-year missions, and that's just a thing that's kind of expected of everyone, and so everyone here served. Mark and Alan served in Peru, and Henry served in the Philippines. I served in McAllen, Texas. Currently
Woo,
in
woo,
Dallas,
gotta love Texas. Yeah.
Yes, sir. It's on like the bottom on the map. You can see just the bottom of the green. Anyway, it's basically Mexico.
It's Mexico.
Yeah.
Us Texans, we don't even count that as Texas.
Yeah.
No offense to McAllen listeners. It's really far south.
Yeah, no, it's a great place. And I had a lot of great experiences and met some awesome people, but there's a standard of like you serve for 2 years, and just based on some mental health reasons and just other situations, it just wasn't the best for me to be out on the mission still. The mission's just a lot of like walking around and talking to people and trying to help people be happier in life. Through Jesus Christ is how we help people, but just serving and helping others. And so I had to come home at about 4 months of the 2 years, and coming home was like probably the hardest thing I've ever done, right? Like, and on top of that, I have this whole like everyone's like, maybe they're not thinking about me, maybe they are, but like I'm everywhere I go, I just see people kind of look at me like, hey, shouldn't you be on your mission? Like, why are you here?
Yeah, you
Why
can
are you
kind
in
of feel
Ohio?
them looking at you, right?
Right. And even
Yeah.
if they're not, like,
You feel
you
like they are.
yeah. So like,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, so I'm sitting there just like I didn't want to go to church. I didn't want to go see my friends. I just literally just wanted to stay at home, sleep. I did not want to do anything because I was like, if I see anyone I know, like that's gonna suck. And then just like slowly as I've worked on my worth and just realizing like being a human being means like that's a miracle in itself. Like that, just who we are, right? Like just the fact that we exist, like, and our worth is based on the fact that that we exist, that like that we're alive, And so thinking about that has really helped me to be like, my worth is like infinite. Like literally just by being alive, I'm enough. Like, and then that confidence has helped me be like, okay, the real friends, like the 3 people on this podcast with me, my parents, my friends, the other people in my life, my um tons of people, the people on the mission that I met, like the ones that are real and really want to help and support me will think great things of me and will help me. And the rest, who cares? Like the rest, I know my worth, and I know that nothing I can do will change that worth. And so because of that, it's like, okay, I don't care what other people think. But like I've been home for like a month and a half, almost 2 months. And like that took literally waking up in the morning and writing out my worth. Like, I'm enough just for being human. Like, I have worth just for being alive, and doing that like a ton, and just anything I do, just repeating that. That was the only way that I felt 100% confident that I could not care. I don't know. Sorry, I've gone on
Nah,
and
that
on.
was
Been
Oh,
rambling.
that's deep.
I like what you were saying. If I can add in,
Yeah.
I like that you were talking about how you didn't really care about what the people that you weren't close friends with were saying about you. The people that are close to you will always be supportive. If they are really a good friend, they will be supportive. And so if you're able to block out all you're going to hear is positivity. So I really like that. That's just great.
And to kind of
Mark?
add, yeah, I was just going to say, kind of to add to that, like, I think that's something that we can just continue to work on through life. That's not one thing that, like, say we get to a good spot that we just stop from there. I think it's just, we got to keep grinding on that, on having that mental positivity, because that's what's going to allow us to have success in any career or in our family life or whatever we choose to do, because it's a valuable asset to be able to have that positivity in your own mind. And I know that's something that I'm trying to work on a lot as of recent myself, just because it's easy to
Yeah.
get down on yourself and just
Right.
start losing that sight of your self-worth, or to get distracted by the other things that you see other people doing, like, oh, this guy has this much success, why am I
Right.
not at that
Right.
point? Like, oh, I suck and I can't find a good job, or like
Right.
something like that. So it's important to do that.
Yeah.
I was just going to throw out this really quick, just a quick disclaimer of course, these are all the things that we've experienced in life and that we're working on and that we're doing. This doesn't mean that it's the number one do all, like, yes, this will work for anybody that listens. Of course, everybody's got to try their own thing, but we're just wanting to share what we have experienced and
Right.
know that's what we have seen work in our own lives. But
Yeah. Yeah. And to go off what you were saying before, like, and then we'll turn it over to Hen, but but maybe a question that I had to ask myself a lot is like, what am I basing my worth on? Like, so for me, it was the mission. It was like, I'm gonna be a great missionary. I'm gonna go serve these people, and that's my worth. And then once that went away, that crushed my self-worth, and I felt like I started from scratch. Like, I have athlete friends, D1 athletes at great colleges, get injured, and that was their worth. And thinking about like, okay, what am I basing my worth on? Is it my bank account? Is it my, the scale? Like, what am I basing my worth on? And what would be a more permanent thing that I can base it on? So like, for me, being human is pretty permanent. Like, that's pretty, I mean, like, yeah, I'll die, but like, what I'm saying? Like, that's pretty permanent. Like, as long as I'm human, like, I'm enough. And that's made a huge difference. So maybe to listeners, and even for myself, a question I'm always asking is like, what am I basing my worth on? And what can I base my worth on that lasts forever? And Han, do you have any other thoughts? All right, I keep rambling.
I think just to kind of echo, I think it was maybe Alan that mentioned good friends are going to be there to support you, and understand you and not judge you, because I know life can be hard, and there's lots of different things that can bring stress or sadness, or all these different feelings into the mix, into your life, which can affect you, and so those good friends can really bring a lot of positivity, and you'll know who your friends are when you're going through those situations. So
that's so
Yeah.
true. Like, you're always going to be able to see who those real friends are. I know there's a saying that, well, in the fitness realm, there's a saying that's like, nobody cares, train harder or work harder. I think that's a big thing. I don't remember who that originally came from,
Lamar
but
Jackson,
Lamar Jackson.
he pulled up to a game, and nobody cares, work harder. just rocking on it.
Just rocking on a
I
shirt.
love that, man.
Yes, sir.
What a goat.
But it's so true, isn't it? Because like I think that applies to just our life, and we got to just keep working because nobody's really gonna be there to monitor us or say like, oh, you're doing this specifically wrong. But then kind of to tie it in, the ones that do care will make themselves known. The guys that are on this podcast, other friends and family that we have that are make themselves present in our everyday lives. That is exactly who we see and actually show themselves in our lives and make it known that it's valuable or that it's worth it. But all in all, nobody cares. Work harder and just keep grinding.
Right. Little disclaimer on that sentence, though. Terrible advice to give to other people. Just horrid. Just
horrid. Don't say nobody
cares. That's great advice for yourself. Be like, hey, but nobody cares in the fact, like I saw on Instagram, one of my friends posted the other day, it was like, I was on social media, opposite of what you were saying, Al, but it said 2 mistakes people make: caring what others think and thinking that they care.
Yeah.
Right. So like,
yep.
Caring what others think and then like thinking that they care. So with that in mind, the phrase "nobody cares, work harder" would refer to nobody cares what you're doing. No one's going to judge you. And no one's also going to care to really push you or like do those things except for the real ones. And so then just keep working. Like
we got the real ones right here.
Yeah, no, like you just keep working. Like there's no other solution. And that doesn't mean work till you're dead. You know, that means like work on your mental health or work on your happiness, your worth, work on those things that matter, but just keep moving forward.
Just keep moving forward. That's great.
Alrighty. Well, thank y'all for listening to this first episode of the Forced Adulthood podcast.
It's been great.
We hope that y'all enjoyed this episode. We hope that y'all were able to see how we're able to remain positive during hard times that we're forced into. And we really hope you enjoyed the story about why our logo exists and about massage chairs. Let us know if there's
massage chair, taking the massage chair of life.
Let us know if there's anything we can improve or any specific topics that y'all would like us to cover by messaging us. Yeah, questions, anything. Message us on Instagram at Forced Adulthood Podcast, and be sure to also subscribe to our YouTube channel for extra content. Sweet. We will see y'all next week.
See ya. Have a good one.
Have a good one, guys.